Good afternoon, folks. We are back on a Tuesday afternoon for some development, and let me just do a refresh on this. And there we go. Right, so that looks a bit better for me. Okay, so we did a bit of work, not a lot, because this is too much fun that I want to share with you guys, right? But what I did was I did a little bit of stuff with our spawner, right? Now, the interesting thing here is we're showing this box, right? But the main thing is that now the probe does not basically do the same thing, right? Because before it used to create a grid, but now what it's going to do is actually select one of these basically. Okay, so as I said before, I did not want to ruin that, and this box is way too big, right? And you'll notice as well I put a plane with the whatchamacallit, with material on it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down to size a bit better. And also, if you noticed, we're updating the instance meshes as well when we do this, right? So basically, we are updating the meshes. Okay, so you'll see that we're doing like the wireframe. I think that wireframe's kind of weird, but it's fine. I kind of liked it without the wireframe, right? But the point is that what we're doing here is when we first spawn these, they are going to have a type, right? But we're going to spawn them as like a generic rock. Okay, so you won't be able to tell. Like for this one, we can tell that's copper, right? So let's have a look at another one, right? We can tell that is iron because it's like a kind of lighter, but then you can tell this is copper, iron, copper, right? But the point being that you don't know what this patch is until you actually send the probe to it. Okay, so the idea now was before this would create the patch, or at least create like a set of minerals. Right now the minerals are already created, and what we actually want to do is we want to detect what kind of rock these are. Okay, so I'll tell you what we'll do in the meantime, right? Just let's work it for the start rather than try to sort of describe what we're doing here, right? So what we'll do is we shall fire up Substance Painter, And yeah, that was right, Steam. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so Streamlabs is having a moment. Right. So what we'll do is, well, we can create 3 different rocks, right? Or, well, we've already got 3 rocks, right? But what we need to do is create 3 textures, right? Or we can just create 1. But what we need to do is basically new select, right? And we're going to be saving them to here, right? But we need the rocks. Okay. So where in the heck did I put the rocks? Well, then export. Let's have a look. Factory fonts, menu buttons, mineral rocks. Here they're here. Right, so we've got rock A. Right, we can OK that. So that's our first rock, okay? So what we can do is we can do the old map. Right, and we can then just basically throw anything on it. I'm probably going to go for this concrete basic, because I'm pretty sure that looked okay before. Right, so once we've got that, we can just throw a material on it. Right, now we'll delete that, right? And what we'll do is we'll have a look at smart materials and see if we've got anything better there. Right, Chrome, nah, not really. This thing is really just a bit short as far as rock goes and smart materials. Not that you need smart materials, but plastic, leather, nothing really there, to be honest. Clay, try clay. I suppose we could go with something like that. Right, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's not anything to get excited about. And that's kind of, if I was going to do this one, this would kind of be the other way around, you know? Yeah, we could do something with that. Right, I thought that would do something. I thought that would do something fairly. Okay, so that's doing nothing like what we want. Right, it's not even doing anything on the parameters, so yeah. Get rid of that then, I suppose. right, delete it. And go back to our materials, and I'm guessing the concrete was probably the better one. Right, we'll try this one. I mean, this one's alright as well. It's nothing, as I said, we actually don't want anything spectacular, right? So I'll tell you what, we'll just use that, right? We just want a plain Jane, rather obvious thing rather than anything else, right? So we'll go to imports and we're going to rocks, and then what we'll do is we shall create a new folder and we'll call it default. Right, now the question is, right, that's okay. So we're going to have a new folder. It's going to be called A. Then we're going to have another new folder. May as well create them all just now, and that's going to be called B. Then we're going to have another new folder, and that's going to be called C. And then these textures are going to be in A. And that'll do us, I suppose. Okay, that. Now, I wonder. Yeah, it's not that much different. It's just a bit darker, really, isn't it? It's got a little bit more sort of detail on it. But anyway, right, so we do new, select, rock B, open, okay that, discard the changes, delete that, go to texture settings, bake the map, hit ID, bake, and go for it. That's okay. We go to layers, then drag this one on. That's it basically. It's as simple as that for what I want to do for now. Textures, configuration, these are still, well, they actually weren't still the same. Export, go to imports, rocks, default, B, and select folder, and export. That's done. Then we can do new, select, rock C, open, okay that, discard that, go to here, bake the maps, not the ID, alright, we're okay at that. And now we go to layers, grab that, delete it, drag on concrete, and that's it. File, export textures, configuration, Unreal Engine, export, mineral rocks, default, C, select folder, go. And that's us. Okay, so we now have our defaults. for this, right? So basically, if we go to here, BP mineral, then we go to the event graph, right? Now this part here, or not that part there, it's going to be, it is going to be BP mineral, right? But it's going to be here first. Right? So we're going to be looking at right, so this is going to change, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at this table here, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to add another one. And this first one is going to be none. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to set this up. That's what we're going to do. Default. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure the same. So we've got A, B, and C, which is exactly what I thought. So new folder, A, new folder, B, new folder, C. So when I look in here and I go to copper, that's going to, yep, okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our here. We're going to go to our imports, mineral rocks, default, A. So we're going to open that, go back here, open that, and basically drag these in. Okay. Then we're going to go to B. And we're going to drag these in. Then we're going to go to C. And drag these in. Okay. Okay, so first one's first. We'll go to A, and we're going to say mat. We're going to create a material, and it's mat underscore mineral rock default underscore A. Right, we don't want to do that really. Double clicked on that by mistake. What I wanted to actually do is get the name of this. Right, so if we copy that, then we go to default B, then we create a material, we rename it to that, but call it B, right? And then we go back, go into here, create a material, rename it to that, but call it C. Okay, and in actual fact, why is that not going in there? Copper ore. Is that actually? Oh, okay. Okay, whatever. Right, so what we're going to do is we need, apparently we need the rocks. Okay. And in which case we need mineral rock B in here. Okay. And I'm not sure if this is the way we'll do it or not, but we'll do it like this for now. I'm going to check out A and B on the other ones. Okay, and I'm going to hit my mic as well, just for a laugh. So we'll drag, okay, we won't. So we'll import that. I've long been working on this, 45 months. I would reckon. Right, so that's fine. So we'll add these in and then we'll set them up. Right, so, and hello there, Yade Griff. I hope that's pronounced how you wanted it. Right, so we need to set up our material, right? In which case, we'll drag these in, as is normally the case with these things, and then drag this out a bit. Base color, normal, ambient occlusion, roughness, and metallic. Save that. There we go. Right, I should update in a minute. Come on. Do your thing. Right, won't really matter. We'll just do B, which is basically the same process. Drag these in, drag that in, drag that in. Kinda level them out a bit to make it a bit neater. And we drag these in, normal, then it's ambient occlusion, then roughness, and metallic. Not that there's much metallic going on, but hey ho, let's get on with it. So that's that one. Then we can go back to C. Actually, I actually have to do something. Back to A. And this one, we actually need to change it to that. And save that. And close that. Hey Blue Force Studio, how you doing, mate? How are you today? So this one as well, we need to go into the details and bang our material in there. then save it, and finally into C. Have we done the material for C? Nope, didn't think we had. Do that and that and that. Plug these in and that. Then it's ambient occlusion, roughness, and metallic. Right, we'll save that. Then into here and drag that in. Now we save that. Close that down, and we've created our rocks, and we have created everything that we really want at this point, right? So now when we spawn our rocks here, and the ore type is none, well, we're not actually going to do that. This is just going to be the default, right? So we can close that down, and then when we look at mineral, we are going to look at the type later, but for the first point we're going to do that, right? So basically when we run this, all of the stuff that is spawned should be that grey concrete colour. Okay, but we've done goofed. Now that might look okay to you, but it's not. Trust me on that. Okay, and the reason for that is we're using instance meshes for performance. But what we didn't do, and I keep forgetting to do the first time round, is actually set these up for instance meshes off the cuff. Right, so we basically come down here and we hit instance meshes, then we save it, and then we go to B, material, click on it, make sure it's selected, then drag down here and instance meshes, save that. Then finally we go to A, material, click on that, make sure it's selected, and instance mesh, save that and minimize that and press play and go. And whoa, that's interesting. Was that doing shaders or something weird? Or was that because it was actually... Right, so you can see now that we've got our kind of... It's a bit shiny, isn't it? It's a bit on the shiny side for concrete, but hey ho. It is, isn't it? It's really quite shiny for concrete. Oh well, never mind. So, now that we've done that, that's all well and good. But now, what's going to have to happen is, when we send the probe out, right, let me just describe this while we're looking at it. Right. So when we send a probe out, this is a probe, and if we're going to like investigate this one, we want this to like scan it, and then turn it to the correct type, which it's already known what type this is, right? But when we've scanned it, we need to change it to the correct rock that's related to the actual substance that we get, right? So with that in mind, we can do this. Whew. We'll go back to our event graph. Right, this is no longer used, so we'll just delete it. Right, and this loads rocks to the data table and spawns the rocks, and that's fine because we're going to delete, we're going to just find the right rocks. We don't want kill myself at the top here, that's just a bit rude. Right, that should be at the bottom. That should be at the bottom, not being rude. We're going to break that for now, but that is quite an important thing there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a custom event, right? So if we do that custom event, then I think what we'll call is reveal mineral. That sounds good, right? Except we'll have a capital M there because that's kind of the way I do it. Mineral, okay. And this is going to change the actual rocks that we're actually going to do, right? So when we're saying load rocks, right, we're going to do exactly the same thing here, but we're going to actually grab, oh actually are we? Do we need to? Yeah we do. Yeah we do. Okay, so that's fine. Right, so what we'll do in this case, load rocks, and then we'll put in them, basically just put type, right, and this is going to be an E item. Okay. And in this case, when we run this one in, we're going to be doing that there, right? So what we're going to do is drag this across. I'm sorry if you guys haven't seen any gameplay yet, but it's just one of those particular points when I'm not really testing gameplay just yet, you know. I'll be testing it in a minute or two, I would imagine. Right, so that's the first one. And then yes, I have used Unreal Engine 5. A little bit. And I guess the next question is going to be, why don't you use Unreal Engine 5? Let me know if I'm right. So that's going to be none. And in theory, In theory, we should just do this again, right? But we're going to have to clear the instances first. Right? And this is going to be type. Alright. So we're going to say load rocks. Right. Now the interesting part, actually, we're getting that, we're doing that, and that's just right. Okay, so we're gonna have to do this. Set rocks to empty, or actually, you know what we do is we just do this and press clear. We do clear. Oh, I'm an idiot. We've got to get this first. So we get rocks, and then we say clear. So anyway, Yad's grift. I'm guessing you probably want an answer to why I don't use Unreal Engine 5. Is that correct? Am I presuming correctly here on that one? Right, and we can jump back to here. Now what we want to do is spawn rocks, right? Now the point being is we grab here, and then I would say we'll do that there just to keep it together, right? And we're going to say clear instances. Okay. Right. Okay. So now when we go, and we've not got the code for this yet, but we're going to have it soon enough. Okay, let's play a game, Yads. You guess why I don't use Unreal Engine 4.5, and I'll tell you if you're right or not. How's about that? We'll play a game. It's a Tuesday afternoon, let's play games. Play a guessing game. Guessing games are good. So once you have a guess, then I'll tell you. Okay? How's that sound? That sound fair? Right, so that should be good for that. Now, we've got a lot of code to change here though, right? Because I think I've pretty much broken my whole game, which is fine. But what I think I'll do in the meantime is I'm going to delete all the saved games, right? Because that would make kind of sense in the grand scheme of things. So what I'll do is we'll go to here. I'm doing this on another screen, by the way. Not entirely, but it's certainly a good reason not to. Not a bad reason not to. But I mean, if you think about it, then the assets you're using will gradually come into, they'll gradually work in 5 anyway, so if it's a long-term project, then that really can't be an excuse, to be fair. Right, but yeah, yep, that would certainly be one reason. Oh yeah, I said I was going to tell you, didn't I? Okay, that's one reason. Okay, plugins. Some plugins don't work, right? But I don't think there's anything in here that I'm using that wouldn't work, okay? So isn't really a reason for me. The reason is, number one, I'm not going to bother using nanite, right? Number two, I'm not going to bother with using lumen. And basically 5 is no different from 4.27 if you take out nanite and lumen. They're the exact same, apart from a couple of updates to 5.03, but then that crashes a hell of a lot more than 4.27. So to me, 5 isn't ready for prime time. It basically crashes a lot, which I have seen on streams and I have seen myself. And yeah, so that's why I don't. So basically, I don't need lumen, don't need nanite. 4.27 works fine, and it crashes less. It's more stable than 5, so why bother? Oh, one more fact. My graphics card runs 10 degrees hotter on 5. Right, so the issue here, we're going to have to do new game, test. I do tutorials in 5, right? So I'm not against 5. That's not what I'm saying. I've nothing against 5, right? I just don't think it's ready for prime time. It's just not ready for prime time yet. It's got a few months to go, right? But it's okay for doing, like, if I'm doing tutorials or whatever, but not. I mean, I suppose it'd be alright for this as well, but, you know, yeah, don't know. As I said, if you're not using lumen or nanite, Okay, so the point here is, right, Anti-Soon 101. Good afternoon. So, originally here's how the game worked, okay? Originally, this is how it worked. If you hit a probe, the probe button, it would draw a grid, right? And there'd be nothing here. Like, none of these rocks would be here, okay? And then basically what it would do was it would make a plonk of mineral down, right? And then, good afternoon, Anti-Soon. Then an explorer would come out of here, then drive down to here, and then basically build a mine, right? But that kind of doesn't make an awful lot of sense. So, what I've done is, we are now doing a random patch spawn round about the map, right? Okay, now it is completely random. There's nothing like making it forcing it to go to the edge or nothing, even though it looks as if it is, right? But you can see there we've got, right, so we've got patches, random patches of ore, right? But the point is, we don't know what these are, okay? So what we need is our drone to come and like scan them, and then once it's scanned them, this will turn into, like, let's say a copper ore or an iron ore or whatever it is, right? And then you can build a miner on top once you know what it is, right? Okay, so that is the gameplay idea for this, but as I said, I'm having to change it all over because basically we've got it to do this so far, right? But when you click on it, it doesn't really do anything at the moment. But that's okay, because we knew that. Right, but what we do need to know is that if one remembers when I said this was important, this is the important part, okay? So when we click on this box, okay, this is going to set off our drone, okay? And most of the code for setting off the drone was in a completely different place, right? So that's not it. This is it here, okay? And we basically have to tell the drone to go and do its thing, which is this part here, right? Now, in theory, I'm not going to do this, because this is kind of a different thing now, and we're not going to have a mining probe, right? But we're going to copy this part, and then we're going to go back to our mineral, and we're going to get this out of the way. Now, as I said, there's a reason I'm having to change quite a lot of code here, and that's because basically I changed the whole way it worked, which was what I just described, right? So I'm having to change a bit of code here, so just nothing you can kind of do about that under the circumstances. Right, we're going to have to rewrite this, except we're not, right? We don't. Actually, we do, kinda. We need to get a drone, but we don't know which one it's going to be, right? So we probably need a function. It might not necessarily be in here that we want to put it, but we'll call it. Yeah, actually we do, because this is going to work slightly different as well, right? So we're going to save that. We're going to go to the event graph, right? We don't really need to do that because we can do that there. So what we'll do is we'll delete that, and this has got the drones available. Right, now this is going to work slightly different as well. So if we go back to right, delete that, and we're going to say available. That's if we can spell available drones, right? The point here is you can have multiple drones, okay? You can have up to 6 drones. So, hey Kiwi Mastermind, how you doing? What's going on exactly? Well, what's going on exactly, I can't really show you because I've broken everything. Right? Because I'm doing, but I'll pseudo play the game, right? I'll explain what I'm doing and I'll pseudo play the game. Actually, will this work? This actually might work. Right? Now, where did, okay. Okay. So what we can do is we can build a miner here. Right? Now this should be not allowed, right? Until you've scanned it, right? But since we're in the middle of changing gameplay ideas, then we're going to do it. Now, what I want to do is find out what this is. If it's bauxite or copper, right? It's bauxite. Okay, you're in luck. So, what we can do is we can build a refinery, then a smelter, and then a fabricator, and then a researcher. Now, bear in mind, this isn't necessarily the way this will go once we're in once we go live. This is basically just using test, kind of, let's say, test data to test this out, right? So basically what you do is you set up these with ingredients and recipes, right? So we're going to turn bauxite into iron ore, right, in the refiner. Then in here we're going to turn iron ore into iron sheet in the smelter, and then in the fabricator we're going to turn iron sheet into research flasks, right? Then we're going to set up our research and we're going to research refining, let's say. Okay, now nothing's happening at the moment, and that's because we haven't connected anything. So what we need to do is connect our stuff. Okay, don't worry about the little buggy bits, right? That's all going to get sorted out. I'm not going to worry too much about that for now. The little strange things going on. And then we can build this. Right? And you can see there that we've got stuff coming out. We can up the workers so that everything's a bit more efficient. Right, so you can see this now begin to output whatever it's outputting, which is actually iron ore, which I haven't really got a model for right now, and I've just been changing some of these models about. Right, so we can speed it up, and you'll now see that our research will start going up. There you go, starts getting done. Right, so we can slow it down again. Now what you can also do is you can also, like, if this is your inventory, like, you can make stuff by like clicking and it gives you a crafting thing. You know, I've started this was done before the hotbar existed, so you'll notice how it's going over the hotbar. I'll need to actually do something different with it, but we'll do it. It's fine. Right, you can see there that it's getting moved into in hand from crafting, right? But yeah, we've got that. Right, there's a lot of back-end systems working this game, right? You might be looking at it and going, oh well, you know, it might look like something's happening. Well, actually, everything is happening what you think is happening, right? So it's doing all the stuff that you think it's doing. I never really got that far into Unity, right? And you can see here that there's our refining finished. And then we can select like another thing. So we can select mining and that'll start, right? Now, here's the thing here, right? You'll notice that this is a spaceship, right? And you're wondering, what the hell's that doing there for? Well, the reason for that is because that spaceship actually is on the map, right? There it's there, right? But obviously, if you're over here doing something, right, doing something over here, then you're not going to see the rocket. Now, what's the idea with the rocket? Well, the idea with this part is that it's showing you when it lands. And when it lands, you can trade with the rocket, right? So you can basically buy and sell from the rocket, right? So you can sell your different cargo, you can sell the stuff you've made, or buy stuff that you need, but not everything's available to buy. I don't know why it's done that. I've probably clicked down here for some reason. Get rid of that. Right, so yeah, so you can trade with the rocket. And the idea behind the TV screen is so that you know when the rocket is available to trade with, right? So when you see it coming down to land, obviously there's a bit of interference and then it's clear to land and now you'll be able to trade, right? And then when it takes off again, that's when you're not going to be able to trade, okay? So that is the point of that. What else have we got? Oh yeah, we've got... Right, so our inventory shows the inventory. That doesn't do anything just now. That just basically does that, right? Okay, but I haven't hooked up that button yet. There's the trading button, and this is for removing buildings, right? So if I like, let's say I build a fabricator, right? And if I connect it, it'll also remove whatever's connected to it, right? But anyway, if I click on remove, and then we click on it, it removes it, right? So that's for deleting stuff. And then you've also got this, which is a storage container. Click on this. This gives you like a splitter, a combiner, and our conveyor. And this is the money you've got at the moment. But then, more fun, we've got graphs. Everybody loves a graph. Right? So this is like production graphs. Right? So you can say, oh, I don't want to see bauxite. So I can click on that and it should disappear. There we go. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. So this is like, you've got a 10-second one, a minute one, hour one, day one, and all time. Right, so you'll see this gradually going up as we produce more stuff, and then I don't know what yay means. I'm going to take that as a positive. Everybody loves a graph. Right? So yeah. So this hotbar, right, let me show you a couple other things, right? Which are cool. Right. So you've got each of the buildings, you can click on it and it'll tell you the information, right? And this is the default color, right? But what I can do, and watch this as well, notice here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, blah de blah, right? What you can do is you can drag and swap stuff, even though that didn't work there, right? Why is that not working? Is that... This might be a save game thing, right? Save game things tend to screw up this. Right, I'm going to actually, might be a moving too fast thing, right? But what you can do is when you've done all your, what do you call it? When, right, okay, wait a minute, right, I'll show you here. Right, you'll notice, remember we did the refiner 2? We did that, right? Well, it now pops up and you'll notice smelter 2 isn't available and that one's not available. And this now says refiner 2, right? Now the reason it says refiner 2 is because it automatically, when you clear one of these, it'll try and put it into the bar for you, right? But what I could do is basically drag and drop it from there into there, right? So this is your hotbar is fully customizable, right? So if I try and click on that, obviously I can draw the thing, right? That's a refinery too, right? So yeah. It takes a couple of seconds to become available. There's a reason for that, right? But what you can do, I'm going to forget about that for now, is when, right guys, by the way, I have to do my little bit of, what do you call it, shilling, okay? So, if you support the game and me on Patreon, then you get your name in here, right? And this is get shown before, well, as of today, it gets shown before a stream, okay? The time before a stream, which is normally 15 minutes, right? And it scrolls up and down, so it's pretty cool. But anyway, back to this, right? Options. What you can do is, obviously, we can change our hotbar. So let's say we change 5 to J and 6 to M. Okay, we can OK that, and then if we go back to continue, I didn't save the game by the way, so don't think that it should be showing anything there. But you'll notice now J and M are on our hotbar, right? And if we hit M, you'll notice I didn't click on it, but it's going to build us our research, right? So it's a completely customizable hotbar, okay? No research selected. Research tends to go a bit bonkers anyway when I don't save it properly, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to stop that, and then if you remember rightly when I showed you the information screen the other time, well, you can actually decide on your own colours, right? So if I select like red, and this is for this, right? So if I left it at that, that would work. But what we'll do is we'll kind of change it and make it that, right? And then if you remember rightly, this was the information screen. So we're going to leave that, but we're going to make our title red. So our title is now red there. And then we can change the blur strength, and we'll have the text color, which is this part here, right? And we'll have that green, right? Then we'll continue. You'll notice now our buttons are all weird colors, basically. Right, and we're waiting on this becoming active. Right, and you'll notice now all of this is now the customized color that we decided on. Okay, so pretty cool. So there's a lot of stuff that's customizable, and you'll notice that the blur is different as well. Well, maybe you won't, but there we go. There's a few things about the game. Is there anything else? And you'll notice it changes stuff for all the information bars, right? So if we click on that, or if we click on the inventory, it does it, right? There we go. So on that, I'm going to take a quick break for 2 minutes, and I shall be right back. So don't go anywhere, guys, and check the description for the Discord and stuff like that, and Patreon, and I'll be 2 minutes. Alright guys, we're back. We've got one thing to check before we carry on, and that is how the footy's going. For the people in the UK, we are all kinda football daft, well, quite a lot of us are. Right, so what scores have we got? Liverpool 2-0 up on Rangers. If anybody's watching that, let me know if it sounds as straightforward as it sounds, basically. Tottenham 0-0 in Frankfurt. Inter Milan are beating Barcelona at home, and Bayern Munich won 5-0. Liverpool Salah smashes in, cool penalty. Okay, whatever. So who scored the first one? Alexander Arnold. Okay. Right, not exactly unexpected, but let's carry on. As I said, if anybody's watching it, let me know how it's playing out. And on we go. Right, so basically we now need to set this up. Right, stop. Right. We need to set the drone on its way. Okay. So let's get rid of that, and of that. And then it was here. Then we have this available drone, right? And then basically we can probably do something like this. And this is just giving us the number available, right? Which is fine. This will work for our purposes. We're just moving the code from one place to another, really. Right? Paste that. And then basically bring this to here. And that's going to be that. And as per usual, it didn't quite work right. And available. Okay, and we're going to be doing not that. Going to be setting that. Okay, thanks very much, Yads. That's very kind of you to give us a sub. That would be appreciated, mate. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you do start creating stuff with Unreal Engine, I hope you have a good time with it. We're going to have to do, yeah, so that was the bit we didn't do. If we do that, yeah, I knew that was going to error, because that's what that does, basically. And then we're going to do that, and drag that into there. Now, for our testing purposes to start with, it's actually going to do not a lot. Well, it's only going to do one, because we've only got one drone, which is fine for our beginning purposes, just to get this back working as it should, right? So we're going to do get all actors of class, and that's going to come from drone. Okay, and that's going to go in there, that's going to go in there, it's going to go in there. That's cool. Save that. Okay, don't know why it's doing that. Delete that then. Right, so that's going to go to there, and now we probably can nearly plug this straight in and tidy that. That's going to go to there. Ah, that's a bummer. This is actually the save that for now. In the grid, you'll notice that this is get all actors of class. Actually, no, it's not. But we do use it. This is BP grid, so we're not actually interested in this. Right, what we'll do in the meantime, right, let's get all actors of class, and then we're doing a for each on it. Right, okay, whatever. This actual thing doesn't really matter right now, because we're going to actually be rebuilding this. So this available drones thing actually won't matter that much. Right, and this part here is actually going to come from self because it's the mineral, right? So what we're going to do is basically not that. For the now, we'll leave it there, right? But we are going to do a get all actors of class and the drones, because we need it somewhere else, but it's not going to be required just yet, right? So this part here, I'm just going to delete it, right? Then this part's going to go to here. Now this is all going to work for one drone, okay? Now this here, this is no longer valid because it can't be anything but, because it's a reference to self, right? When it wasn't before. This is the same thing, right? So in theory, I'm going to hope that our drone takes off. Okay, so if we click on probe, here it comes. Perfect. All right. Now it doesn't do anything at the end yet, which is fine. Right, that's cool. We're cool with that. So far, everything's good. Just gonna get a quick drink here of water. Right, we are going to change this code around a bit when we get multiple drones, but for the moment we're not going to worry too much about it. Okay. So we're going to save that. And then we're going to check on our drone behavior tree, because it's obviously getting stuck at the point where we don't want. So we have the drone. We'll open that up, right? And then we're going to get the AI and then we're going to go to the behavior tree, and this is the interesting part because we're going to need to know what's going on, and this is because of this mining probe. This mining probe is actually no longer relevant, right? So what we're going to actually have to do here is this is the only thing that's going to have to change here, right? But this mining probe, and it's a blackboard value, this is going to have to change to BP mineral. Okay. And we'll call it mineral mineral rocks, right? We don't want to call it mineral patch because it's not really a patch, right? And we don't really want to call it just a mineral because it's not a mineral, it's more like a set of rocks, right? So basically what we're going to do is when we come in here, right, we are also going to basically get this blackboard and say set value as object, right? And the object value is going to be self, and that's going to go in there, and then we're going to make a literal name, and that was what, mineral rocks. We'll just check that in a second. Mineral rocks, fine. Right? Now, if we go to our behavior tree, what we can do is we can go onto here. This is not a mining probe anymore. We need to rename this to mineral rocks because it has to be exactly the same name for this to work in your AI, but that's fine. That's object, but it's not that, right? It's going to be cast to BP underscore mineral, right? So we're going to do that, and it's not going to be that. We are going to make, right, what we'll do is we'll go to BP mineral, right? Now, we did we? Reveal mineral. Okay, so we go back into our drone and task, right, and we say reveal mineral. Okay, now this is just basically a message, right? It isn't actually doing anything. It's purely cosmetic, the drone flying about and basically doing its stuff. Hi Alipie, how you doing, mate? Right, so our drone is basically cosmetic. It doesn't actually do anything, right, per se. So basically what we're doing is just passing a message back and saying draw the blooming thing. Draw the rocks properly, right? So, as I said, we're gradually moving things along here. So, we'll continue that. And we'll find ourselves some rocks. And now we've got our drone flying. That's excellent. Right, we're nearly back to gameplay time. Right, this is going to drop down. We're going to forget about those robots being upset. Right. Now, did it do anything? No, it's not coming out of here. Right, we're going to stop that for now. Right, status, mineral rocks, that's fine. Now, that should be fine. The only reason this can't be fine is if this, the mineral rocks, is nothing. Right? So we'll try that again. Right, so we get the probe, click on that, right, and we drag this up, mineral rocks, none. Right, so that would suggest then that this part here I've not connected up. Nope, I haven't, because I'm an idiot. Right, but at least I've managed to. Right, Streamlabs doing it, so I'm going to slow everything down to a crawl thing. And then just suddenly be, okay, we're working again now. Plug in there. Right, so we continue. And that's lucky, getting the rocks right there. Right, and we'll do our drone again, and we'll make sure this time that our rocks actually, yep, there we go. Rocks, lovely. Lovely rocks. And now this should change colour. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh. Nearly. It kind of worked. kind of didn't clear all the... Mr. STG multiplayer or not multiplayer at the moment, that's for sure. That's weird, look at that, how that changes. Right, so we're going to need to check on that, that's weird. That is a definite weird one. Right. I'm just wondering here, right? If we load rocks for the data table, right? So we're clearing this. Streamlabs decided to do its weird thing or not, again. Right, so let's load the rocks for the data table, right? And then spawn rocks. And then we're telling it to clear the instances. Then we're doing that. Then we're adding the instance. So, interesting. So if I add a breakpoint here, I wonder if let's what can you do with instances? Right, so I know that you add, like, this gives you the numbers, right? So I'm guessing what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create a variable here, right? And it's going to be have to be instance indexes. Right? And it's going to be an integer, and it's going to be that. Right? Because I'm betting you this gives you back, yeah, add an instance to this component transform. It's given local space, but this is an integer, and this is the value that you can return it, right? So basically, we should be grabbing this, right, and then adding a number to it, right, and we're gonna have to clear it at the start. Right, so what I'm guessing is right, add instances, clear instances, get and remove instance. Right, and I'll bet you it has an index. Yep, told you. Right, so we're going to delete that, right? And it's not very often I've worked with, well, actually this is pretty much one of the first times I've worked with instances or meshed instances. So we're learning. And off of this, we're actually going to have to do a for next loop. So we're going to have to grab this. We're just going to get it for each. Right. Then we're going to have to pull this element. Is going to be that. That's going to be in there. And then once this is complete, right, we're going to get that and we're going to have to say clear, right, because it no longer relates to the ones we've got, right, and then we have to basically draw them again, right. So I'm going for that being the answer there. I have done some multiplayer stuff, Mr. XSTG, but this isn't. This has got enough complexity going on for I don't need it, really. It may be something to think about for later, but if it's one person trying to do everything, then you're better trying to keep it a bit more focused on what you're doing so that you actually don't get bogged down trying to make something that is completely bonkers for one person. Well, not on the first time around anyway. Right, so we've got our thing here and it's all about this. All right. That's really weird. Let's do that again, right? I want to see if it actually deletes these. want to see what actually happens here. Right, so it draws those ones. And then it changes for some unknown reason. Right, so it's not deleting. So I'm just wondering if it's this that we need to remove. No, because, right, because that's got the instance index. Right? Okay, right guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. So if you've enjoyed the stream, then hit the like and subscribe. Check out the description, and for Discord, if you want to support the channel and not cost you anything, then you can put my previous game in your wish list, or if you want to support it, you can buy it or join the Patreon. So thanks very much for watching, and we shall see you tonight at 8 PM. Bye bye for now.